lot taller than I am, Alex.
Hey, Lance.
I don't have to duck as much.
How
Good
you,
seeing
man?
you, man. How you been?
Good.
Hello and welcome in. I'm Lance Lohnert, and we want to thank you for joining us today. I'm with Amarillo businessman Alex Fairley. But we wanted to review the results and give Alex a chance to give some thoughts on that, as well as address one of the more talked about council meetings we've had in a long time. And this is, I am injecting my opinion. I thought it was kind of a clown show that it became, but it was very. Anybody who watched it, I think, was flabbergasted with the conversation. But we're going to discuss about that. But and as always, I just want to come clean. Alex does not request ever to see the questions. I think that's one thing that we find that's very important. Hey, we do have a new mayor-elect, and Cole Stanley won the mayor vote, landslide, like 75%. He will be sworn in on May 16th if things go as been said to us. But his seat is in a runoff, and that vote will be June 24th. So what happens to his seat that you've?
My understanding is
Yeah.
it's empty.
So what's that mean?
Well, there's still a quorum, meaning there's 4/5. So I think they can meet, and I know I've been asked the question of can the council appoint someone in there. I don't know the legal answer to that. I kind of would assume that answer is no, but listen, they can operate, and things that need a majority of vote will be, the majority now will be 3, so 3 out of 4. But I think the council though has to get in there and get to work.
Yeah, that's
we have a budget coming up, and they can't wait around for 6 weeks till those. So I think Howard Smith will stay in his seat because his is undecided. So they'll have 4, and I think they'll just get to work and go, and we'll have to wait on those 2 seats.
Speaking of that, with a whole new council and new mayor, and they have to get this budget done. Is it August? Something like that, right?
I think it's August, and tons of.
How can they do that?
Work is going on right now. Look, the city manager and his staff, and they're working on the budget right now.
Right.
It's not like the only people working is the council. So when those guys show up, whatever the day they get sworn in, the budget will be well underway, and they'll have to get caught up. And
okay,
I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
And you have Cole in there who's been involved in whatever's going on. I think it'll. The other thing I know is I know Don Tips and Les Simpson. I know specifically
Les is in a runoff.
Yeah, Les may not be in there. I think Les will be in there, but those guys have been working studying budgets, meeting with people who know our city budget specifically. I just know personally of preparation that those guys have been doing in case they won.
Yeah.
And so I don't think those guys have been sitting around just doing nothing.
Okay.
Listen. Some group of people like to say, "Oh dear, they're all inexperienced. The sky is falling." They're going to be just fine.
Okay.
They're going to be just fine.
The camaraderie though, the quorum that it does take, Alex, doesn't that take a little while to get used to each other, or do you just jump right in?
I think it'll take a while. Yeah, it'll take a while.
That's not a big deal to you. All right, fair enough. All right, let's get to this. The council meeting I referred to. Mayor Ginger Nelson went all in, saying residents had requested these questions to be asked to Cole Stanley.
Yeah.
Your name was definitely brought up into that conversation, and basically, you were accused of buying the election in one form or another. Did you buy the 2023 election, Alex?
Oh, Lance, that's a tough question. No, that's ridiculous. Let me tell you how I look at that. Listen, I can talk this for 20 minutes. I'm gonna be really pretty quick. And I'm not gonna criticize. I think everyone who watched that, they know what was going on that day.
$40,000
Yeah,
to
no sense in trying to push people on what they ought to think of. But listen, the bottom line is I supported Cole, which I said from the beginning, in a big way. I supported Tom Sherlin in a big way. I supported Josh, who is in a runoff, and did amazing. A 28-year-old won that race against a much more experienced, much more well-funded guy. That, in my opinion, that might be the story of the election. That this 28-year-old firefighter won that race, even though he didn't get to 50.
This is place 1 with Josh Kraft and Dean Crump. They're in the runoff.
But I supported Josh.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know, but I gave money to 2 other people in that race. So here's what I was doing. Lance, here's the bottom line about that. Those comments were from a mayor who has been funded by a very small group of people, raised more money in her 6 years than any mayor in the history of the city, is worried about how much money I gave Cole, it's a little, I'm not even going to say what you said, but here's the bottom line is, we've had this imbalance in our city. We have an entity out there, a political action committee, that has gathered up and pooled their money, and they've given money to people, and those people win because at the end of the day, you gotta run TV ads, and you gotta send mailers, and you gotta buy radio spots, and you have to have some points of money. And there's been one group of people combined that do that, and their folks basically win. And so
who is this?
in the races I gave to, I was balancing. Like I'm a Les Simpson fan. I think he's going to be amazing. He's in a runoff too. I only gave Les $2,500. Les had gone out, did some money raising. He had money. I gave Les enough to say I'm with this guy. But Josh Kraft is in a race with Dean Crump, who Amarillo Matters loves, and I said that about Amarillo Matters, not about Dean. Dean says he's not with them, but Amarillo Matters thinks he is, and so.
Well, you gotta trust Dean's opinion of that.
I totally trust Dean's
Okay.
opinion. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is about Amarillo Matters, not about Dean. I've sat with Dean. Dean's looked at me and I said, no, I'm not that.
Right.
I don't think he's disingenuous in any way. But Dean had a lot of money, and I balanced out Josh. And here's the bottom line. The people with the money would love to criticize me and say, oh, Alex shouldn't give all this money. They would love me not to give the money so that there's this imbalance. So I balanced things in place one by giving money to, first I gave money to 3 people and let this kind of thing happen. And then when I picked my guy, I made sure he wasn't at a disadvantage. Same way in Tom's race against Kat. Kat was going to have money. She raised money. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good. Nothing wrong with it. But listen, if Tom was going to lose, he wasn't going to lose because he had so much less money. And so I'm very comfortable with what I did. And the reality is that there's not many people with money on the normal people side, and I'm on that side. And I wish I didn't have to give so much money. I wish we had a lot of people who could give $5,000 a piece, which is what I think the mayor said. But there's not that many. And so I wouldn't. I'm very comfortable with what I did. And no, I think she also said maybe I was trying to get him to drop the appeal.
Yes, that was a question I definitely had for you. That was brought up in there, that part of the deal, or so to speak, in her opinion, was to drop the appeal.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
So here's the truth. Cole nor any of the people I supported and I never spoke about the appeal ever for 1 second. I don't think any of them, they didn't, so I guess they wouldn't. I just think they have too much integrity. I never would have brought up the appeal. Here's the thing that was a little farcical about those comments. What she doesn't understand, and Cole didn't understand when he said, I would drop the thing and let Alex have his money back. I think what Cole was saying was what Amarillo probably overwhelmingly feels, this appeal is ridiculous. We should drop it and move the heck on. That's what Cole wasn't thinking. Cole doesn't decide if I get my money back. The judge decides if I get my money back. But here's about on the appeal. The appeal's not stopping. Doesn't matter what the city council, the new one, does. If they drop their parts of the appeal, I had to come in and answer it. And frankly, it's been far more expensive than anyone estimated. And then we have made some arguments that we want to be heard at the appellate level. It'll set legal precedent. So if the city went in and dropped everything, the appeal will go on because I'm not dropping my part. So that was kind of comical because the appeal's going on no matter what this new city council does, and that for many reasons we never spoke about it. Listen, that was somebody who's frustrated with me, taking a shot at me. The vehicle was Cole.
Let's bring this up, Alex. I mean, a lot of people out there. Has it become personal between you and Ginger?
I would answer that again unequivocally for me, no.
Okay.
And here's when people are going to know that. They're going to see me speak up about right things with this new council. There's a group of people right now that are very unfairly, very inaccurately, and very ugly attacking Les Simpson. And the attacks are inaccurate and they're wrong. And they're people who are with me on other things. And like that's still not right.
Okay.
And so and because that's kind of gotten personal, we can't do that in our city. What happened that day on that meeting was really bad on both sides of the dais.
Yeah.
What happened behind the dais was crazy. But what happened on the other side, where people are yelling, saying things, frankly, getting up and leaving in the middle, like all that disrespectful. I had it's a person running against Les, text me during that meeting and say, I was in here fighting, and I guess Claudette was part of the yelling at the mayor.
Shut up and spoke, yes.
And she said, too bad you're candidate in here doing this. And my thought about that is, if the only thing you need to do to be a good city council member is to throw bombs and fire and say ugly things that are frankly inaccurate, then I would be comfortable with her being that. But listen, all that ugliness and craziness, if you go back and look, I've never been ugly to Ginger. It's so not personal. I'm calling things out that I think are wrong, and I've done that about Amarillo Matters. And look, if next week Cole does something crazy, I'm going to speak up about it. And so,
Yeah, from my view, Alex, it was a black eye on Amarillo.
It was a bad day for Amarillo.
Yeah, it was. It was a bad
day for Amarillo.
It was a clown show. It was a clown show that anybody viewed in. Is that how Amarillo actually works? Why would I ever move there and get involved with that? That's just my opinion. I've got to ask you, Amarillo Matters, the general public, and I'm asking for me actually personally as well. I think of it as a big organization, okay? Can you kind of take us into, since we've been discussing Amarillo Matters a little here, what it is?
Yeah, listen, it's not. It's 10 guys. And it's a political action committee, so really it's just a legal entity. It's a vehicle that you can put money into, and anyone can put money into it. It has a board, and that's the whole organization.
Yeah.
So listen, they have a Facebook page. They did everything with Prop A. They carried the water with Ginger on the $260 million tax note. She appointed their president to lead that. They came up with that. So they're very involved. But Amarillo Matters is not. It's not everyone in Wolfland. Like the people who want to hate that's not right. It's about 10 or 12 or maybe 20 people who have gotten together and they pool their money and they try to influence things in Amarillo, and they've done, frankly, incredible. They owned this council for 4 years, and they owned 4/5 of it for 2 more years. And this was listen, she was their mayor, and that council was their council, and so, but actually, it's a very small group of people. When I say things about Amarillo Matters, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about 20 people.
Yeah, and very influential, obviously, on the recent elections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Less so this last one, but.
Yeah. Inspire Amarillo. What do you see that moving forward? What's up next?
There's no specific plan. Inspire Amarillo is just whatever we wake up thinking about one day. There's no plan. It's never going to become a PAC. We don't have some mission. We frankly never intend to get involved in politics. So I literally haven't thought 2 seconds about what inspire. We'll just do whatever comes up. I've the things I'm working on, but not so much Inspire Amarillo, are this bill that's working its way through the process to keep from any one city from doing what Amarillo tried to do. And then I'm working very, very hard on the school choice issue in Texas. But those aren't.
Can I ask you about the school choice, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
The general public, I don't, and I'm one of them. I'm going to be full exposure here, and I'm not proud of this, but I really don't know exactly what school choice means for the average person who has 2 kids in school and you're paying taxes.
Yeah. So here's school choice just in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And I think most people don't. And it's decided at the state level. So like,
Alex, great conversation as always. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you may have on your mind right now?
Yeah, no. Mostly, I would say where you started. We have another election coming up.
We do.
There's two, like 40% of our city council isn't picked.
Right.
I think it's very important in both races. You know, I'm still with the folks I'm with, Les and Josh. I think they're both the most qualified in their ways. What we need them, but mostly.
And people.
We gotta go vote. Like
Yeah,
whoever you're for. If you're not for my vote, like we gotta go vote.
Yeah. If you don't agree with Alex, on April 24th, we have to get the votes out, and this is going to be a tough one because it's a runoff, and let's not have the apathy that we've already showed in
Could
Amarillo.
Say the one last thing.
Go ahead.
So, what's your wedding date?
June 17th.
Okay, so we'll be through this by then. But
We'll be through.
Happy. We won't do another
I
interview by
appreciate
then.
that. Okay.
Happy
I really
marriage.
Do. I do. I appreciate that. I'm thrilled.
It's awesome.
It's a wonderful woman, and I'm blessed beyond a measure. So, we hope you enjoyed our conversation today. As always, we are so thankful you spend your time with us. But like Alex said, April 24th is that runoff. We have to have voter participation. Whoever you're for, that's fine with us. But just go vote. So, thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Lance.
Appreciate it. You guys have a great day out there.